Hi again, grade 5. Today's lesson is called Time Order Words. Now, this is a lesson that most of you have probably taken for a few years, so this is um, revision for you, but it's important especially because we are going to be doing personal narratives this week, and time order words are very important. So, what is a time order word? A time order word or phrase tells when events happen and in what order. Here are some examples: first, second, third, next, then, last, finally, yesterday, today, tomorrow, as soon as, before, after, meanwhile, last night, in the meantime, the next day. Okay, so let's try to answer some of these questions together. Please open your Language Arts Practice Workbook to page 16. We're going to underline the correct time order word or words that best complete each sentence. Okay, so by word or words, this means that we can have a time order word or we can have a time order phrase. What is the difference between the two? One word, okay, so after, before, then, next, finally, all of these are one time order word. But we also have phrases such as soon as, okay, in the meantime. These are time order phrases, okay, so more than one word. All right, number one, long ago or finally, when California was still a territory, there lived a boy named Zach. The correct time order word is long ago because we have the verb lived in the past, okay? So the answer is long ago. Number two, before or during Zach went to school in the morning, he had to do his chores. Again, we have the past tense verb went and had. So our answer is before. It is, again, something in the past. Lastly, or first, he fed the chickens. In this example, we're going to go with first. Okay, first is the correct answer. Next, number four, second or fifth, he milked the cow. Of course it is second because this is after the time order word first. Number five, third or never, he stopped the pigs. The answer is third, all right? So first, second, third, we're following sequence. Number six, meanwhile or after all his chores were done, Zach started his long walk to school. The correct answer is after all of his chores were done. Number seven, tomorrow or as soon as Zach crossed the creek, he had to climb up a steep hill. The answer is as soon as. Number eight, then or in the morning, he had to cross a wide green meadow. The answer is then. So as soon as Zach crossed the creek, he had to climb up a steep hill, and then he had to cross a wide green meadow. Number nine, yesterday or next, he jumped over a big stone fence. The correct answer is next. And finally, number 10, tomorrow or lastly, he walked down a long dirt road into town. The answer is lastly. Okay. All right. Now we have 5 more. So number 11. We're going to complete each sentence with a time order word from the box. Number 1. Guys, in this exercise, the answers may vary. Okay, so they can be switched around, but I'm going to give you some possible answers. Number 1, early in the morning, Like rode her bicycle into her village. Number 12, as soon as she got to town, she went straight to the bakery to buy bread. Number 13, next, she pedaled over to the butcher to get a nice, fat chicken. So number 13, next. Okay. Number 14, afterwards, she put the groceries in her basket and went home. And number 15, finally, helped her family prepare chicken stew for lunch. Okay, I hope this is clear for everyone, guys. Let me know if you have any questions. Okay, so after we finished the time order words, we moved on to personal narratives. Okay, this is what we introduced yesterday. What a personal narrative is, just to recap, tells a story from personal experience. It expresses the writer's feelings by using the first person point of view, the personal pronouns I, me, my, to tell about my experience, okay? My feelings. It has an interesting beginning, middle, and end, shares events in a sequence that makes sense, and finally uses time order words to connect ideas and to show the sequence of events. Okay, so when we are writing a personal narrative, there are steps that we follow. Step one is, who can guess? Step one is to pre-write. What does it mean to pre-write? By pre-write, this means that you organize your ideas, okay, before you start writing, after identifying your purpose and your audience, okay? So your purpose and your audience. What is our purpose? Our purpose is why we are writing this. We are writing this to entertain, all right? To entertain. And our audience is who we are writing this for, or who is going to read this. Okay, so this is all part of step one, pre-write. Okay, so once we identify those and we know why we're writing it and who's going to read it, we start to choose a topic. Okay, we start to choose a topic. After what? Brainstorming. What does it mean to brainstorm? When we come up with possible ideas. So choose a topic after brainstorming a list of memorable events. So events that are events that mean something to you, okay, that you remember well from your life. Okay, so think about which event would be the most interesting to your readers and think about the ones that you remember most vividly, okay? Ones that you will be able to describe. After we choose a topic, we then explore ideas by making a list of details you remember. All right. And of course, we should remember to include your own feelings and thoughts. All right. Later, we will organize these ideas that we are writing down. Okay, so this is the first step to pre-write. All right, once we're done, we organize our ideas. I told you we organize. How do we organize them? The easiest way is to put them in logical order, okay? So we organize our ideas by putting them in logical order. So this is kind of a checklist. Organize your ideas. All right? Usually through a chart or some other diagram. So that's step one. What is step two? So once we have brainstormed and once we have made our chart and we know what we are going to write about, what's the next thing we do? We start to write our first draft. Now, what is a draft? A draft is our personal narrative, but it is unfinished, okay? So we still have to review it after. We have to check for mistakes. We have to check for grammar, for punctuation. We have to proofread. Okay, so step 2 is draft. So second, we write our draft. All right, review the chart that we made. We look for the main ideas and make a new paragraph for each new main idea. And of course, we support the main idea with details. All right, so how do we write the draft? We first we review our pre-writing chart. We will look at examples of these next class together. We wrote one in class. We wrote a personal narrative chart. So we wrote the pre-writing chart and we started our draft. So we're going to go over this on Monday and on Sunday, and we will review the draft together and publish our final piece of writing. Okay, so back to the steps of the draft. First, we review our pre-writing chart. We organize the supporting details around the main ideas. Next, we, of course, use time order words. This is very important to show a sequence of events to make it easy for the reader to follow. We express feelings in our own voice, so express feelings in your own voice. And finally, what did we say? We must have a clear beginning, middle, and end. Not only clear, but also interesting, okay, in the way that we word this. But we will have another chance to look again at our wording when we revise, okay? So step three is revise. What does this mean? Okay, so do you guys know what elaborate means? It is very important to elaborate at this stage. When we elaborate, we add important ideas and details that might be missing from our writing. Okay, when we revise our personal narratives, we may need to tell more about our feelings. Okay, if you look in the textbook, you will find examples of this. We might also want to look at our word choice. So do we like the words that we used, or maybe do we need to change them? Are we using the right words for our topic, the right words for our audience? So this is very important. So select words also that will help you sequence the events of your story in logical order, or in an order that makes sense. And next, think about better sentences. Okay, as you continue to revise your draft, check your sentences to make sure that they fit together, that they make sense. All right, read these sentences out loud. How do they sound? How do they flow? Do they flow well? Are they easy for the reader to follow? Have you included different types of sentences? Have you used sentences of different lengths? Okay, so our writing would be boring if it was I went to school, I had fun, I saw my friend, so we need to elaborate and write better sentences. Okay, Sometimes you can combine two short sentences into one compound sentence or even a complex sentence, since you know how to write these now. Something that is more interesting, we may also want to add more information to a short sentence, okay? So when we're revising, we elaborate, we look at our word choice, we use better sentences, we use time order words, okay, but this can go under word choice, I guess. Time order words is important, and we use language that expresses our feelings. Okay, so this is step 3, the revision stage. Step 4 is proofreading. All right, step 4, proofread. What does it mean to proofread something? When we proofread, this means that we check our narrative for spelling mistakes, for grammatical errors. We check for mechanics, punctuation. We make sure that we catch any mistakes that we may have made while we were writing our draft. Okay, so the rules are on page 58, the rules for grammar, the rules for mechanics, if you would like to look at them. Okay, these are more or less rules from our grammar lessons this week. Okay, so compound sentence, conjunctions, complex sentences, how to, it says that we should capitalize the first word of a sentence. So it's basically information you guys know, but the rules are on page 58 if you would like to go over them. And it's also very important when we're writing a personal narrative not to use run-on sentences. Okay. So in this stage, we check for misspelled words, correct them now. Oops. Okay. Check for misspelled words. Check for correct in punctuation. We'll make sure our in punctuation is correct, and also capitalization is very important. Make sure we are capitalizing proper nouns. Correct run-on sentences. How do we correct these? We have two ways. Either we split the sentences, form two separate simple sentences, or we can write a compound sentence. And finally, use commas correctly. It's very important to use commas correctly in compound sentences and before introductory dependent clauses. Just to refresh your memory, guys, what does this mean? When we have an introductory dependent clause, this is like, for example, when I go to school. So since this is at the beginning of the sentence, this is a dependent clause, we must write a comma after. So for example, when I go to school, I listen to my teacher, for example, okay? All right, so that's it for step 4. Okay, now finally step 5, and the last stage is called publish. All right, this is step 5. Step 5 is publish. Now, what do we do when we publish? So obviously we are at the end. All right, this is the last step, like I told you. There is a self-checklist on page 60 that will be very beneficial for you. Again, guys, this is just an introduction to personal narratives. We will go over them together in class on Sunday. All right, so this is when we review our writing for the last time. Okay, so this is basically before we publish it for people to read, or before we read it out loud to our friends, or before we submit it if it is an assignment. Okay? So ask ourselves, what was my purpose? Did I describe a personal experience? Did I use my own voice to tell my story? Does it have an interesting beginning, middle, and end? Did I use time order words to show sequence? Do my sentences flow well? Did I use correctly compound and complex sentences? And did I proofread and correct all errors? Okay, so we check our revised draft one last time. We make a neat final copy of our narrative and we submit. Okay, so that's it, guys. That's it for personal narratives. These are the steps. We will look at examples in class together. If you guys have any questions about this, please let me know. You have a grammar quiz on Sunday, so please be sure to log in on time because it will start at the beginning of the session and you will have only one session to complete it. Okay, that's it, guys. Take care and I will see you soon. Bye.